Hi, so today I want to share with you why some of those emotional eating strategies you see don't work to move past your emotional eating. Strategies like journaling or talking to a friend or going for a walk or a run or the countless list of things you can do to distract yourself instead of eat. I want to share with you why they don't work. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and emotional eating expert. And so I really wanted to share this topic because I've gone through this myself, and I see this sort of out there in the ethers of those telling us that if we feel like want to emotionally eat, to go for a walk, talk to a friend, journal. And I think that, can be okay advice, but from my experience and what I know more about emotions and emotional eating and my own experience with using those tactics, they didn't work for me to get to the root of my emotional eating, to process through the emotion and to hear the deeper wisdom that's under there. So, when I started off my emotional eating journey, I went to diets and I went to, I tried all the diets. I even went to therapy. I went to cognitive behavioral therapy. And so I learned how to rewrite my thoughts and how to do other things instead of emotionally eat. And that did temporarily help me, but it didn't get to the root of my emotional eating. And so we all know when we are more stressed out, we go towards our coping mechanisms more, in this case, food. And I saw that even after a year and a half of therapy, I still went to those coping mechanisms and I felt even more out of control. Yes, I knew more about my triggers maybe, or my patterns a little bit, but I had no real way to process through those emotions, to learn to be with them and understand them. I was just distracting myself. And so that's what these things are. If we realize we want to emotionally eat and we go talk to a friend, or we journal, or we go for a run or a walk, what we're doing is distracting ourselves. We're switching out one behavior for another, because it's not about the food, it's about the emotions. So if the emotion is there and we go towards food to feel better, or the emotion's there and we go towards a walk or a run or a friend, we are just moving away from the emotion. And the emotion is calling out to us to process it, to feel it, to move through it. And so this is not really recognized. If we look at our society conventionally, we don't understand emotions. And so emotions are produced in our body. When we go through something, our body produces emotions and they live in the body. And unless we feel and process through that emotion, it stays stuck in our body and it's waiting to be processed and it'll be re-triggered. And so when we distract from it, it's like putting ice cream on top of poop. We're just going away from the emotion, or we're putting something on it, or we're pretending it doesn't exist. And that is really harmful to us, because that emotion, in order to move through it, we need to be present with it. We need to see it, hear it, and validate it, because that is our experience. And so when we distract, we are just telling ourselves that how we're feeling is not important. And if you think back to when you were younger, that's probably what you were told when you were feeling a certain way, that you shouldn't feel that way. And so maybe that's how you develop your emotional eating. Or maybe your parents showed you that because they didn't validate their emotions, so they emotionally ate. And so we can see how this cycle continues, but the emotion still is there. It lives on. It's waiting to give us important information, or even where we're limited. So we need a way to get into the body and feel that emotion and process through it. We don't need any more distractions. And so what I've found as I moved through my emotional eating journey, and this was the missing piece, because I needed to get into my body and feel through these emotions, feel safe feeling them, and I needed it modeled to me. So if our parents were not able to be with uncomfortable emotions and they coped with food, we don't have a way of knowing how to do that, because our parents are the ones that need to model it to us, to make us know that it feels safe to feel our emotions, that it's okay. And, when we don't have that growing up, it makes us think something's wrong with us, that we're not okay. And so we do use food and other things to just temporarily feel okay. And here we are again getting the same advice to go for a walk or to do this or do that, and we're not feeling the emotion. We're not being with it. And so what we need as humans is to be seen, heard, and validated, especially when we're younger. But as we grow up as well, we want to feel that connection. And when we're able to do that for ourselves, we feel connected. When we don't do that for ourselves and we distract, we pull away from ourselves. You might notice if you do those things, you still feel kind of numb and you still feel unresolved and you still feel jittery in your body because you haven't allowed the emotion to be felt and move through you. And so this was just so key and pivotal for me. And it's why I raise my son the way I do. I want him to feel his emotions, to know where they live, because our emotions live in the body. And if we're taught at a young age, we won't need distractions to be with our emotions. And so what is needed here is to learn a way to start feeling safe in our body, to feel safe with emotions, to feel resourced, and to understand that emotions are messengers and to be able to listen to them. And this is a skill we learn. It's not something you're born with necessarily, unless you had parents that, showed you this, then it's more innate. And we be with those emotions and we hear their messages because they give us messages about our life. If we're feeling uncomfortable or sad or upset, that emotion is telling us something is not right for us. And if we're feeling more happy and more positive emotions, that's telling us we really like that thing. So our emotions are giving us information about our life. And if we keep them suppressed and sort of stuck, we don't ever hear that information. We feel stuck in our life. And then if we keep piling food, we're even more stuck. So we really need a way to get into these emotions. And so this is what I teach clients in the Emotional Eating Evolution program and how I work with them one-on-one. I use somatic meditations with psychotherapy tools to get into the body, to start showing them how to feel safe in their body, to be with their emotions, to hear the messages, and to be compassionate with themselves and to bring those emotions in instead of pushing them away. Because even those emotions are ours. They're not us, but they're ours, and they need our presence. They need to be seen, heard, and validated. And the more we can do that, the more clear we'll feel. We'll feel more at ease in our body, because when we have an emotion that isn't processed in our nervous system, when we feel an emotion, it kind of peaks. But when we don't process that emotion, it stays in our nervous system and it's waiting, that energy is waiting to be felt. So when we feel it, our nervous system goes back to calm. So we feel more calm and at ease in our body. But if we keep having emotions and we keep covering it with food, we're still in this heightened state. And so when we become more clear and calm in our body, we're going to have better solutions for our life. We're going to know what our next action is, and we're going to have a real way of meeting our true needs. No longer using food to cope. If we need to be with our emotion, we be with it. If we need to make a change in our life, we make the change. We don't stay stuck just emotionally eating. So it's amazing how much clarity you can get by being with your emotions. This is not a Band-Aid solution. I'm not about Band-Aid solutions. I want to get to the deep root of why emotional eating is happening for you, and it's really the emotions under your emotional eating. There are also other factors such as your nourishment, your body acceptance, and your lifestyle, which are covered in the Emotional Eating Evolution program. These are all factors that tie into emotional eating when it becomes to this level. So if this is resonating with you and you want a different way to move past your emotional eating, I'd love to invite you to book in an emotional eating assessment call to see if the Emotional Eating Evolution program is a right fit for you, if it can help you in your journey. I would love to support you in that. So you can book in that call. I'll leave a link below. And of course, if you have any questions about what I've said, please let me know below, and please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.